House Bill 175, an act relating to unlawful discriminatory practices. Representative Maddox.
Gentleman from McCracken.
Mr. Speaker, I yield to the lady from Grant for explanation of the bill and motion thereon.
Chair recognizes the lady from Grant for explanation of the bill and a motion thereon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to present for the body today House Bill 175. This bill is intended to prevent discriminatory practices against firearm and ammunition manufacturers, as well as retailers, distributors, shooting ranges, and other entities within the firearm industry. Before I do this, I want to give you a little bit of background, as folks have reached out and said, why do we need to do this here in Kentucky? It's been about a decade now that's passed since, under the Obama administration, they implemented a policy known as Operation Choke Point. And under that initiative, the Department of Justice sought to discourage banks from doing business with the firearm industry. Fortunately, that initiative was discontinued in 2017, but financial institutions have continued to engage in discriminatory practices and have refused to conduct business with the firearm industry at an even higher rate. You don't have to look far to find a shooting range which offers gun safety classes, only to find out that they've been denied the ability to process credit cards or have run into lending issues. And, I have a list of, and I'm not going to name any businesses or any banks, of course, here on the floor today, but I'm going to give you some locations that have been impacted by this, specifically here in Kentucky. In Winchester, Kentucky, there's been an establishment that was turned down for financing by several large banking institutions, and most credit card processors will not work with this company. Also in Murray, Kentucky, something very similar. Crestwood, Kentucky, and in Franklin County, Kentucky as well. So this is an issue here. And, allowing financial discrimination against the firearms industry poses just as much of a threat to the people who seek to exercise their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms as it does to the entities that supply the goods which enable them to do so. And I do want to really stipulate here and to make you understand that this bill does not prevent any bank or financial institution from making standard business decisions, nor does it preclude them from making legitimate determinations pertaining to credit worthiness or credit risk. It does, however, stipulate that financial institutions may not implement a policy of discriminating against the firearm industry at large. This bill was filed in support of over 400,000 Kentuckians who are currently employed by the firearm industry, as well as several thousand law enforcement and military personnel who rely on equipment and facilities that the Kentucky firearm industry supports. And with that, Mr. Speaker, could you please have the clerk report House Floor Amendment 2 to House Bill 175?
Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 2 to House Bill 175.
Lady from Grant.
Yes. In addition to this being the second amendment to a Second Amendment bill, I want to take a moment to kind of explain why we have done this and what this amendment would accomplish. In conversations that we've had with some of the bankers across Kentucky, specifically the Kentucky Bankers Association, they have requested that we clarify some of the language in this bill to make sure that they are able to engage in standard business practices. So we wanted to make that clear, but also to preserve the intent of the bill. And the way I understand it, we've done a pretty good job in doing that. And I'm happy to answer. Well, I want to move adoption of the amendment first, please.
Motion is for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 2. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by voting aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. House Floor Amendment 2 is adopted. Lady from Grant.
I'm willing to take questions, but if there are no questions, I move passage of House Bill 175 as amended by House Floor Amendment 2.